You have incredibly vivid goals. You can picture the exact life you want to build down to the smallest detail, and the vision feels entirely real in your head. But the second you sit down to execute the most basic, mundane step required to get there, you freeze. You tell yourself you just need a quick break, that you'll start tomorrow morning when your energy is higher. But tomorrow arrives, and the exact same cycle repeats. Watching your own potential waste away while retreating to tomorrow's promises creates an agonizing loop of guilt. You find yourself fiercely ambitious, yet completely paralyzed. But listen closely. You are not broken, and you do not lack intelligence. What you are experiencing right now is an active neurological war between two distinct areas of your brain. Welcome to Kinetic Humor. We decode psychology and brain science in a way no one else does. If you find this valuable, make sure you subscribe because we are going to give you the exact tools to reclaim your focus. To finally break this cycle of paralysis, we have to look under the hood and understand the precise mechanics of this internal biological conflict. Right now, your mind is split into two competing factions. The first is your visionary self. This is the modern, highly evolved part of your brain that conceptualizes long-term achievement and craves greatness. The second faction is your primitive brain. It operates on a strict, ancient biological directive: survive. And in the context of human evolution, survival simply means conserving energy and avoiding any form of discomfort. When you think about starting a new business, writing a script, or learning a difficult skill, your primitive brain detects a problem. It sees uncertainty and extreme effort, and it interprets those things as a literal biological threat. This diagram shows a simplified neural pathway. When faced with the threat of hard work, your brain hits the panic button and forcibly reroutes your attention. It pushes you towards your phone, social media, or video games through a bypass channel. These zero-effort activities deliver an instant dopamine hit, rewarding you for successfully avoiding danger. Every single time you take this exit, you actively reinforce the specific neural loop. Procrastination is a training mechanism. You are literally wiring your brain to associate your ambitions with pain, making the escape route thicker and harder to resist tomorrow. This means your chronic procrastination is not a character flaw. It is a deeply miscalibrated ancient survival mechanism working overtime to protect you from perceived harm. Alongside this dopamine escape route exists a quieter, highly deceptive defense mechanism keeping you stuck: perfectionism. Perfectionism elegantly disguises itself as holding high standards. You convince yourself you need the right gear, the right knowledge, and the exact right mood. By demanding absolute symmetry before starting, your primitive brain avoids taking a messy, energy-intensive first step. The underlying fear is entirely psychological. Deep down, the brain is terrified that if you give maximum effort and still fail, your illusion of being uniquely talented is destroyed. As long as you stay safely in the planning phase, you never have to face a terrible first attempt. But a flawed, aggressively ugly first draft holds infinite tangible value, whereas a perfect idea locked in your head is entirely worthless. Perfectionism is simply fear in a tuxedo. It operates as a biological shield, meticulously designed to guarantee that zero energy is ever spent on the actual work. To dismantle these biological shields, you need to completely abandon the fantasy of motivation. Stop waiting to feel ready, because that feeling is never coming. This animated diagram illustrates a crucial behavioral truth. We assume motivation causes action. In reality, it works in reverse. Pushing kinetic energy into an initial action is what generates the motivation, feeding directly back into sustained momentum. You will have to move when you are tired and execute when every fiber of your being screams at you to check your phone. That conscious, mechanical override of your primitive brain survival protocol is what we call discipline. It is a muscle, not a magic trait. Because that muscle gets exhausted, you must rig the game through environment design. If your phone is on your desk, you will scroll. You have to make distractions physically and biologically impossible to reach. Pitting sheer willpower against millions of years of evolutionary biology is a guaranteed loss. The only way to win is by systematically starving your primitive brain of its cheap dopamine supply. Breaking free from paralysis is entirely about physics. Do not attempt a massive life reinvention by tomorrow morning. Instead, pick one tiny action. Write a single sentence. read one page. You are simply breaking static friction. Once the initial resistance is tipped past its center of gravity, physical momentum takes over. You quickly realize that the agonizing anticipation of the task causes vastly more biological stress than actually executing the task itself. And when you inevitably stumble, falling back into an old habit for a day, do not let guilt compound the error. Shame is a completely useless emotion. Forgive the slip instantly, reset your environment, and initiate the next cycle. The hard truth is that you do not need another life hack, podcast, or productivity video. Endlessly consuming self-help content is just your primitive brain's newest disguise for pretending to be productive. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below, and subscribe to Kinetic Humor so you never miss an episode. Now, do not click on the next video. Close this tab entirely, put your phone in another room, and execute that one small step you have been avoiding. The time for planning is over. The life you have vividly imagined exists exclusively on the other side of the discomfort you are actively avoiding.